Don't have a lot of money? Then contact John LeBang. His reasonable rates, professional look, and fast turnarounds will help get that song off the ground. Contact him at jlebang.com.
If you are elderly, disabled, receiving SSI or Medicaid, and you have a medical need or require assistance with daily housework, shopping, grooming, medication, you may qualify for housekeeping at no cost. Call now. VIP Home Healthcare, 248-579-3805. VIP Home Healthcare, there when you need them. That's 248-579-3805.
Hey, man, it's at the bottom of the hour, man. Do you know where your kids are, man?
If you want to contact the John LeBang Show, feel free to send an email to jlebang@live.com. And if you're on Twitter, look him up at John LeBang. And don't forget to go to his Facebook page at The John LeBang Show. Now here's John.
All right, welcome back, my friends. Thank you for joining me this hour. You know, I got into a social media debate. I probably shouldn't have joined it, but I got into it because, you know, sometimes you've got to clear up both sides. You know, we're caught in this duality where you're either Republican or you're Democrat, you're a liberal or you're a conservative, you're this or you're that. To a lot of people, there's no middle ground, or there's no outside of that. Instead of left and right on a linear scale, life is more circular. And you may not fall inside that linear line. You may actually be above or below that line and somewhere in between the two. But for the vast majority, they dance around in this duality, and then you got to be a liberal or you got to be a conservative. And if you're one or the other, we hate the other one because we can't get along. We can't accept different views. No matter how much sense they make, right? So we had a person post, it was a Facebook post, about the moon landing being a hoax. And he had a video, and of course nobody that posts these videos usually check the facts of everything in these videos that are posted. Because that's just not human nature to do some deep research. They get a video that they agree with, or they find a Google link that they agree with, and they post it as fact, not checking the statistics, not checking out to make sure what is said inside that link, whatever it may be, is 100% fact. So the one gentleman who originated the post on his page posted a video about the moon landing being a hoax and blah, 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 all this stuff. Well, a relative of his begins to contradict that because he's one that believes that NASA did go to the moon and did all the things that they said they did. So I'm watching the debate, and I can see that neither side really knows their information that they're talking about. They're both Googling their belief system and then taking the first link and then copy and pasting something and slapping it in as a comment of theirs, even though they probably didn't know that knowledge till then, and they're not going to retain that knowledge because all they did was read what they wanted, copied, pasted it, and slapped it into a post. So I saw this, and I was like, okay, I've studied the moon landing situation. Was it a hoax? Wasn't it a hoax? I have my own beliefs on that. But the person who got me thinking about that was William Cooper. He did a great series on the moon landing and what NASA was telling us and if it was true or not. And in the video that I posted in the comment section along with everything, like many people might know that the moon is 1/6 the gravity of Earth. I mean, that should be common knowledge That is what is taught to us, that the moon is 1/6 the gravity of Earth. Bill Cooper explained that. He went by their documentations. He went by research from NASA and other organizations into space. He was using their data and comparing it to what science says you can do. He wasn't giving people opinion. He wasn't interjecting any falsehoods, making stuff up. He was reading data, books, things that were written at the time, theses, all these things that were written at the time of all the before and after the supposed moon landings by NASA. He also read direct NASA documents, government documents. He was involved in intelligence in the Navy. So he's a naval intelligence officer. So he knew how to gather information probably better than most people and how to read it. And he would read it to everybody on his radio show, especially this moon landing thing that we're talking about. And he came to the conclusion that what NASA told us happened with all the moon landings couldn't have actually happened the way they told us. He never said the moon landing was a direct hoax, as so many of the tinfoil hat people, as this one guy who was in Florida stated that anybody who thought the moon landing was a hoax was crazy. And to prove that, I went because I wanted to increase my knowledge. I was curious about the subject, because I was too young, ladies and gentlemen, to even witness the takeoffs and the landings of all that. Or wasn't even born, because we were doing that even before I was born. So I have to go by historical fact or historical data. Whether that data is fact, it's hard to tell because so many things get manipulated and so forth. And everything Bill Cooper read on his show, the government documents, when I went to search them out, they were easily found. I didn't have to go through 40, 50 pages of Google searches to find this stuff. It was pretty easily found. Very accessible. And all Bill Cooper was saying that, okay, if it's 1/6 the gravity, and I'm paraphrasing now, because I don't have the transcripts of what Bill said, but I'll make the video available and you can listen to his broadcast at any time. Because I, like Bill Cooper, think you should listen to everybody but believe no one unless you can prove with your own research that what they are saying is true. And research does not mean Googling something for 10 minutes, copying, pasting it, and put, on somebody's Facebook post. That doesn't show you're intelligent. That shows you're lazy. Because you're probably not going to retain that information. So as Bill Cooper went along in this broadcast and in many other broadcasts, I could look up what he's saying, find out if jived. Bill Cooper was accurate because he read from documents. He didn't make stuff up like Alex Jones, or as Mr. Webb from Florida said, Adam Jones. That tells you a lot. When he was trying to make fun of myself, William Cooper, and Adam Jones. I don't know who Adam Jones is, but I believe he was trying to point out Alex Jones because he's a raving maniac. A lot of people like Alex. And if you do, that's great. But Alex is more of a sensationalist than an actual researcher. Cooper was a researcher because he had a background in military intelligence, and he knew how to find out information that most of us didn't know how to find out. And he showed us how to find out on his show. If you took the time to listen to his show, but many people didn't take the time, or nowadays they won't go back into his archives. But if you have extra time, listen to William Cooper. Not telling you everything he said was 100% accurate, because he broadcast the information that he had at his disposal. More things get found out as time goes on. A lot of stuff gets debunked as time goes on. But when you speak of a guy who was trying to get it right, Bill Cooper was far and beyond most of the other radio personalities that were available at the time and henceforth since then. I tried to do it the William Cooper way. I was not good enough to do it. I couldn't read as smoothly and as coherently as William Cooper would read. So, because that data, sometimes that data gets to sound like gibberish if you're not the most articulate and well-spoken person. And Bill Cooper not only had a great voice, but he was well-spoken. He had a great vocabulary. So when words came up, he didn't trip over them. He was a smart guy. You can't be a dummy and be in military intelligence. They're not going to let you that far. That's why when he exposed a whole lot of things, he had credibility. Because he was able to document different things that nobody else knew how to document it, because they weren't that deep into the government's scheme there. The scheme's all behind it. So Cooper runs through all these things: 1/6 gravity, how the spacesuit, how much it weighed. You can find all this stuff. The mobility of the spacesuit. He's doing all this. Now this guy mocks William Cooper with a video that just rips on William Cooper's 8-10 minute video of somebody trying to debunk William Cooper, who pulls out things saying that they're William Cooper in his words, in his opinion, when they weren't. They were actually Bill Cooper reading from either a document or a book or something else. And William Cooper basically offered out information, told you to research it yourself. If you found something that contradicted him, let him know, and he'll research that to make sure you're not getting fooled either. Because he was open to changing his opinion on things when new data came in. He wasn't closed-minded. Well, this gentleman mocks him, even though he never spent a minute listening to the broadcast, because William Cooper would say, if he's reading from a document, he tells you somewhere along the lines that was either at the beginning or at the end of this little segment there, this was from this document. And you can look up that document and you can see that it was reading verbatim. So this Schmendrick mocks William Cooper, mocks me, tries to tie us in with Adam Jones, but the guy's not smart enough to know that any Adam Jones out there isn't doing radio and isn't the Adam Jones that he's talking about. Because the Adam Jones he's trying to talk about is really Alex Jones from InfoWars. Somebody that I don't follow. You got to listen to the guy because he does have information. He sprinkles it in there. You listen to everybody, believe nobody, unless you can prove it yourself. And William Cooper exposed Alex for being a fraud way back when. But regardless of that, so this guy mocks all of us. So I'm like, all right, dude, I'll tell you what. Because this is how I am. Let's sit down face to face and we'll go over all this stuff, because he made fun of the Illuminati, the New World Order, anybody who believed in any of that stuff. So I was willing to sit down with the guy and talk over every little issue that he was mocking and see what was true, what was false. I had no problem with it because I've done my research. I know what the New World Order means. The New World Order means a one-world totalitarian government. It's not a government for freedom. If it were, the New World